from Jackson, Mississippi to Phoenix, Arizona. You know, that's 1,500 miles. He literally chastised me in the midst of that. And from that point on, even though I wasn't in the church, wasn't considering joining the church, the Lord spoke to me periodically for a period of 3 years before I joined the church.
Oh, you were stubborn.
Right. And I had, by the time I decided to join the church, I had over $250,000 in equipment.
Oh,
And in the midst of that, my brother had an accident in Florida, and one of the trucks went down, and it was a tow. And the insurance did not pay it off. So I was left with a balance of like $15,000. So I only had one truck and two trailers. And in the midst of that, I lost the other truck because I kitted in for warranty work. And they wouldn't release the truck because I owed them $15,000. So they kept that one. So I ended up losing the whole shaboom. I lost everything. And at this point now, I need to do something spiritually. So spiritually, I was dealing with this back and forth. My wife would come to me and say, when you join the church? And I was struggling. So, I mean, what's the battle? And I decided to go to the Canton Church with her. And John Barnes was giving the message. And in the midst of that, when he opened the doors of the church, I was standing up. I didn't know how. I didn't make no effort to stand up, but I was standing up. And everybody was weeping and crying. His brother finally had joined the church.
Praise God.
The Lord took me from there, and he led me. I even had a vision
Wow.
in the sleep. And in the vision, the Lord had come to me, and I promised to him, if he let me live, that I'll serve him all the days of my life.
Amen.
So from that point on, this has been my life. And the Lord has carried me all the way to the bottom, and now he has brought me back up.
Praise
Amen.
God.
That's the God that I serve. He's beautiful.
Janice, would you share with the audience what it was like for you serving the Lord when your husband was not?
It was a very trying time for me, but I knew who the Lord was. And I knew that he would eventually bring Dawn into the church. Now, as he stated earlier, the girls and I was ministering to him daily. Sometimes he would get annoyed with me, but most of the times he would not get annoyed with the girls. So I sent the girls on him. And the girls would climb up in her daddy's lap and say, Daddy, how you gonna know when Jesus comes back? They said there's gonna be a lot of false people out there telling you that Jesus is over here, he's in New York. But do not believe them, Daddy, because when Jesus comes, every eye shall see him.
Yes.
He's gonna be in the clouds. And they were 6 and 7 when they was telling their daddy this. So God, we also got a book called Adventist Home. My sister Gwen gave that to me. When Don would come home off the road, he would sit and try and recoup himself, and I would read to him out at Adventist Homes. And it would show what the duties are of the husband, what's the duties of the wife, and all these things and how God had put it all together. It was very trying, but I had a church family that was praying for me. I had a relative family that was praying for me, so God got us through it. But the most thing was to be consistent. You know, whatever I did, I knew Don was watching. So I just prayed God that whatever errors I made, that he would hide them, and that he would show Don the best that we were doing.
Janice, what advice would you give for women who might be married to men who are not yet Christians?
I would say continue your studies, pray to the Lord daily, pray for your husband. If you have children, get your children involved in it, because they can do more with daddy than you can. Because when a wife tries to tell her husband things about the Lord, as I stated earlier, they become annoyed. But the children, they are open vessels to them. So, you know, just pray constantly. Keep what the Lord is telling you to do. Be consistent in your worship. Don't ever say, I'm just going to stay home with you, honey, because you don't want to go to church today. When those things come about, that's when you run to the church. You don't stay and keep him company. You still go on your journey that God has sent you on.
Now, Donald, thank you, Janice. What advice do you have for men whose wives are Christians and they have not yet committed to becoming Christians?
Well, I would say this. I would say don't cause a confusion in the home because you don't recognize anything spiritual. Stay the course and know that, you know, when it came to me, I knew the life that they were projecting was a good life. It just wasn't for me. But know that when spiritual things come, we have never contemplated on spiritual things when we're in the world. It's the spiritual things that comes to us. Accept those things for what they are valued, and then consider them to be for you later on. Look at it in a situation where it would benefit your family. Anything that's good and tangible, don't say no, don't say that the situations have corrupted your home, but has really brought peace to your home. And then as you see these stuff roll out, and you can understand what spiritual life is all about, give it time, because you never know what God can do in the midst of nothing.
All right, any last words?
I would say for both of us, when it comes to the beauty of holiness, God will bless your home if you keep Him first and foremost. And He will always bless your home. As long as you keep the course and be faithful to Him, He said there's nothing that He withholds back from you. And I believe that.
All right, thank you very much. Can we